We've been discussing the entire Indian manufacturing sector and how the manufacturing sector in India is at a J curve, whether it is ability, capability, or change in the global order. And Ravi has been talking about it on our various interactions that at Value Quest they've taken a huge, a mega bet this time in the manufacturing sector. So one of his portfolio companies is actually Waaree Energies. And Ravi, it's the first time we're talking to you outside the studio at a real location to understand the thinking. Now, this is the manufacturing of a simple solar panel cell. But this is the future of India in terms of manufacturing, what India is capable. So how are things tying up for you? Whatever we've discussed on paper, is the reality now really applicable?
So, you know what, Nikunj, we have spoken a lot about the mega trends that we are bullish on. And manufacturing is definitely one of them. But this particular company, Waaree Energies, is actually being powered by two different mega trends. One is the manufacturing in India, and another is the energy transition that the whole world is going through. So, if you have two boosters, that's fantastic. No, so, for example, chemicals also is a beneficiary of manufacturing coming to India, but that is a mere supply chain shift that is happening. While what is happening in solar is it's not only a solar supply chain shift happening, but it is also that India is a growing energy market, world is a growing energy market, and it is moving away from fossil fuel towards renewables. Now, this company, I'm sure you have spoken with Hitesh and you realize solar is only a starting step. This company is going to play the entire spectrum of the energy transition. So, it starts with whenever you invest in a manufacturing company, you want to have the benefit of capacity utilizations going up ahead, operating leverage kicking in, expansions happening. Everything is happening in hyper mode in this company. The company is changing scale dramatically. This company did a profit of 70 crore in FY22. Is going to do, okay, these are unaudited numbers, but it's probably going to do closer to 500 crores profit in FY23. And this kind of a hockey curve is going to continue for another at least 3-4 years. So obviously that is the confluence of the two mega trends that we are talking about over here.
But Ravi, energy transition by nature is a business which requires technology adaptation. It requires a lot of capex, and it's a place where the big boys have dominated the space. And now the big boys are there. Reliance, Jindal, even for that matter, Adani. Where does Waaree fit in the picture?
So I'll tell you, this is an ocean, okay? And in ocean, there can be more than one large blue whale. In China also, for example, which is the largest whale in this ocean, also has 5, 6, 10 different companies that have reached a size of 80 to 100 gigawatts. This company that we are talking about is a leader, but it is still at a 10 gigawatt kind of a size. Over the next 5-7 years, the size of these companies is going to grow multifold. So I don't think the conglomerates coming in is going to reduce the pie. In fact, the pie is so big that they will also add to the demand rather than add to the supply.
Yeah, actually, I have Hitesh Bhai also with us. So Hitesh Bhai, thank you for having us over, Ravi. And I can speak on behalf of Ravi that we both are delighted to be here.
Thank you very much for coming all the way, both of you. I really appreciate that.
It's our pleasure.
So Ravi, what prompted you to invest in Waaree? You said the big picture, but a financial investor will look at top down, the big picture, and bottoms up, which is the valuation and the uniqueness about the company.
So it is not only about valuation. So there are three things to an investment opportunity. One is that opportunity should be good. Two, you have to find an entrepreneur and a company that is doing the best job of riding that trend. And then of course comes the valuation. But when such a large opportunity is unfolding, and when you find a company that is a leader, you don't have to think twice. The valuations eventually will unfold. The opportunity itself is so large that we'll be laughing at ourselves 5 years down the line that how did this company was available at this kind of valuation.
Why was it available? Why did you sell cheap to him?
I'm sorry?
Why was it available cheap and why have you sold him cheap?
Because we are the enablers of the opportunity. An entrepreneur needs capital. They have a huge growth capex planned, and for that they need money. So it is not that they sold out cheap, but we are enablers of them being able to tap that opportunity.
So you are hand-holding the Waaree Group to really understand that how wealth can be created for shareholders. I respect that. But I'm sure with what to do, there is a long list of what not to do. So what is that what not to do list?
So obviously we have the advantage of having the vantage point of looking at many different industries and what are the mistakes they made. And usually it is debt related. Most of the time, how to manage debt. I don't have to teach Hitesh Bhai anything. Hitesh Bhai is far more prudent than I am. He has managed to keep the company debt free, even despite the fact that he was competing with the Chinese for the last 10 years. So he is a frugal manager by nature, and he manages the debt as well as the return ratio. So I am happy to be here if there is any advice is needed. But fortunately for me, he doesn't need my advice.
We'll need a lot of advices, and we want you to continue your help and guidance in this journey.
But it is like eventually it comes down to this whole part that every technology has a life cycle. Steam engine had a life cycle. I'm sure the technology, what is at play here, both solar and non-solar, will have a life cycle. You will get few things right, you will get few things wrong.
Right.
How would you adapt to this ever-changing need of technology?
So when you are in a technology business, you are sure that the technology shelf life, particularly in the solar, is not more than 2 to 3 years. So last 15 years, I have seen the 5 cycles. We started with a module of a 10-20 watt. Today we are at 550 and 650. So this journey will continue. Machines need to be changed. Training needs to be upgraded time to time. And that's a part of this journey. So it's not something special or new when you are in technology business.
Ravi, historically, you've invested in businesses which don't need too much of capital to grow. If I look at pharma, your technology investments, because ultimately, if the need of capital is, the return ratios will remain compromised. What I understand from him is that this sector will keep on needing constant capital, which is always a no for an investor.
No, so I think last 10 years was a time period in India when you should have avoided businesses that need too much of capital or too much of debt. Now the next 10 years, you are going to make a lot of money investing your capital in businesses that need capital. The metric to focus on is the incremental ROCE from that business. Is it attractive enough or no? And the, even if it requires capital, the reinvestment rate and the returns earned on that is making the company even more attractive, in my opinion. Which company in manufacturing sector do you know that can go from being a 70-80 crore profit company to a 2-3,000 crore profit company in a span of 5 years? That is the kind of scale up that we are witnessing. That is possible only with capital, right?
It is why the other point is that once a company reaches a curve, there is a different talent requirement, there is a different HR requirement, there is a different type of challenge to manage scale. Right. The only sector which I think has done very well in India, I think, is IT. They started small and they built up scale. Right. How will you manage scale? Because the numbers what Ravi is talking about, the numbers what is demonstrated, it is humongous. Whether it is blue sky or deep ocean, whatever may be the terminology, the size is huge.
Definitely we need to change the way we are doing the business. We need a lot of intervention of the various consultants. We need that kind of the talent. So execution is the key now. An entire organization working in that direction to get the talent to change the processes, system, corporate governance. And for that, very reputed consultants from India, Germany and China are already on the board, and they are helping us to scale up this and change the way we are doing the business.
So, Nikunj, I'll add to that. Hitesh Bhai is being a little modest, but and scaling up is not only about the numbers growing. It is also about going from being a family organization to a professional organization. So they would have recruited more than 40 people in the senior management role. They have gotten E&Y as an auditor. They have KPMG as an internal auditor. They're independent. The board size is growing. The reputation of the board is good, and the kind of systems and processes that they are putting in place tells you that this is not a small company anymore. It is a company that is probably do $1 billion profit one day.
Do you see $1 billion?
One day.
I wanted to qualify that. You know, when it comes to $1 billion, suddenly I get my antennas up. Ye kya hai? I mean, if you think about it, Ravi, I don't think beyond 30 companies in India, they clock $1 billion of profit as of today.
I'm also counting on rupee coming to 40.
So do you see this investment of yours could be a multi-year investment? It's a multi-year opportunity.
See, any industry usually has a 3, 5, 7 year cycle. After that, it is really the how versatile the management is in finding that new trend and the new riding that new wave. And that is exactly where I feel Hitesh ji has caught on to the solar wave. The solar wave will last at least 10 years, but he is already seeding for the next wave, whether it is batteries, whether it is hydrogen, electrolyzers. He is already seeding those avenues, which will be the next wave, maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the line.
What to your mind could be a deserving P multiple for a business like this? Are there any global references?
Let market find its own correct multiple. I am nobody to say this should be the multiple. What I know is that the profits are going to grow in a big way, and it will be rare to find a company that will be such fantastic size of profit, return ratios, and such fast growth. So that combination is very rare.
Our common friend, not our friend, but one of the common gurus we looked at is Rakesh Junwala. He would always say that I will sell a stock when the P multiple is out of whack or there is a challenge to my core conviction. So when will you sell Waaree?
I have no idea, but I can tell you it's not on the horizon anytime soon.
Why is that?
Because the opportunity is just beginning.
So it's not a trade. It is not an
Absolutely
opportunity.
not.
You are betting on a multi-year.
I am telling you, right now, next 3 years are only about solar, but beyond that, this company is going to morph itself into an fantastic energy transition play. And I think that is where one should be betting on.
One final question before we wrap here. And we're just enjoying the tour of this lovely facility. Uh, the energy space has one element, and that's an element which nobody knows, is the policy framework. It has changed, it will continue to change. Sometimes it could be rigid, sometimes it could be stupid. How do you guard yourself in this dynamism where countries are trying to get the energy sufficiency right?
The first thing is that now Ukraine war or what are the energy prices have given a clear mandate that we need to go on the green energy. So whatever the policies will come, of course there will be some hurdles all the time. But at the end of the day, everybody wants to go for the renewable energy. And for next 20, 30 years, you talk about the Paris Pact or you talk about the Indian government 2030 target or 2050 by net zero target or ESG. So this way is decided now. And hurdles are going to be the part of the way. So personally, I don't see that the policies will stop this growth. It may be for a few months, like we are seeing at present in India. For the local manufacturers, there are some hurdles, but they are not going to stay for a long time.
So Ravi is assuming $1 billion profit with rupee at 40. If rupee stays at 80, when will you do $1 billion of profit?
I don't want to talk about the numbers again. I will say that help us to make sure that everybody's energy, not only the country becomes the energy independent. I will say everybody becomes the energy independent, number one. And number two is everybody has his own carbon credit account where he says, I am staying with the net zero. So net zero target should not be only for the company or country, it should become an individual also.
Can I give you an idea which will boost up your business in next 10 seconds?
That will be great help.
So ValueQuest does not have any Waaree power solar units.
I'll make sure their walls of the buildings became the solar power.
See a solution and something to look forward to. Really appreciate your time. Ravi, it's so fantastic to really understand your thinking behind investing in some of the portfolio companies, and we must try and do this more often, trying to really understand the thought process of what you're following right now. That's it on this special show. I don't want to name the show anything. We just simply call it On Site with ET now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.